I got into Game of Thrones. Now, I haven't really watched much of the series, but it's just so popular. I've had a bit of an interest. Like, what is this all about? And I learned something about it that I had no idea. And you can find this on YouTube. I'll put a link in the show notes. But I saw some descriptions. I had no idea. Some people did some YouTubes about the history before. And I didn't know this, but Game of Thrones takes place 12,000 years after a cataclysm during the beginning of the Grand Solar Minimum. That's why winter is coming. Is that not...
Predictive programming.
Whoa! I saw that and I went, are you serious?
Yeah, because think about how many people would have picked up on the message, the subliminal message contained within the most popular program ever on the history of TV.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how is it that... Is this being pushed to create the most popular system so everybody gets the message and you all have a chance to actuate or activate or get call to action on that message? Because everybody on the planet's heard of it. Everybody on the planet pretty much has seen at least one of those shows. So how has it become such a gigantically... It's a great show, by the way, but a gigantic success that it pervades the entire planet with the same message about the cold's coming.
Winter is coming.
You're going to have difficulty, see how they fight for food, see how rudimentary it was. People took a step back into like a primitive lifestyle. Like they're preparing you for... So it won't be so bad if you have to live like that. You'll be like, oh, it's kind of like living in Game of Thrones on the, we have some pigs over here, we got a central courtyard over there, but that might not be too bad.
Yeah.
They're trying to pre-sell you that it might not be too bad. Well, you know what? It is going to be pretty bad if you don't have an aerial motor to pump your own water from the ground.
And that's something I wanted to talk about. I mean, to the extent that you are able, and that you want to at this point, you are coming out with some new devices. Self-contained little farms in your house. Is that something that you're working on right now?
Working actively on it, yeah. So the power part is it's the most difficult part because Brad Buttrick, he has the all-in-one Spectrum LED grow light. That's done. Lush Hydroponics out of Taiwan, they got the vertical grow tubes. So the actual real hardware for growing and is there for you already. It's easy. You can just order it and they'll get it to you. The hard part is, like with Bitcoin mining or with any kind of mining, the electrical cost and also the reliability of electricity. Because if your electricity goes out and your food's going to die, you'll die. And if it comes to that point where you want to have control over your own electricity, it's just developing what previously was a Tesla device, and it's turned now into what they call a parent-dev motor, where it's using magnets. And the push of magnets, when you're a kid, you try to push them together and they repel each other. Well, you stack them up in a circular fashion, and you put a spindle in the middle that comes in and out to stop if you pull it out, the magnetic coupling will break.
Mm-hmm.
And when you push it in, you got to start it by hand first to make it spin. But once it starts spinning, then you can drive an alternator and then charge a battery from that using the Earth's magnetic field. Now, these devices have been around for a super long time, but I just found kind of a new niche for it. Not a thing to power your home, but something a small one to power just the battery that would have enough to drive the lights on your grow system, circulate the water, have a fan and maybe a dehumidifier running, like a 1 kilowatt unit, something like that. And you could have your batteries charged, and then if you had extra, you could overflow it somewhere else for more usage or sharing, if you will.
Wow. 1 kilowatt's not bad.
No, not bad. That's enough to do everything. You got all those lights on however many tubes you're going to put out, because we're working with an 8-tube system and a 16-tube. And the next thing is when we get the rest of the lights from Brad Buttrick at Hidden Harvest, we're going to line that thing up on the wall. And then we've been working with the magnetic motor. It's going to be a free idea design out there so you can couple the system yourself. I have no intention of manufacturing it. I do have the intention of building one to show it can be done, use it for my home use myself, but I have no intention of manufacturing these. The designs I'll put out there. But in terms of selling this, I'm not into it. It's a kit. It could work if you can do it yourself, a DIY, but here's all the stuff that I'm trying to think about in the future, because our grid definitely is going to go down. The reliability issues in the future are great with the electrical usage. So if you can create your own electricity, gravitational vortex power, 1 cubic meter flow, spinning some turbines, just spin the water and then let it drop out. You can stack those down on a stream or a river. There's all these solutions locally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an exciting project. I look forward to seeing those YouTubes.
But again, I'm not going to sell it or manufacture it. It is just a design.
Gotcha. It's just a design.
Just a design.
Yeah. do it yourself if you want
Yeah,
to do
DIY. That's exactly what it is, DIY. Now, you can take a component out of that. Maybe you just want to use the grow tubes. Awesome. Well, it'll be there so you can learn how to use the grow tubes. Shit, you could even pour that by hand if you had a clock. And every 3 hours, you'd have to rewater it, and then you could collect the water at the bottom. So it's using gravity for the drip feed through the tube system. So if pinch comes to pinch, you could water by hand.
What
was your favorite thing you saw here so far today? Because I was asking a lot of people this question, like, so far we've gotten a lot of information.
Yeah, I really love the charisma of the worm farmer, Greg.
Yeah, Greg Allison.
Greg Allison, amazing presentation, NASA scientist, and he's doing a presentation about worms and growing worms and the importance of, hey, if you're going to be farming, if you're going to be growing, you need fertilizer, you need good soil. And you're not going to be able to go get fertilizer. But basically, you can do what we've done forever. You can just use cat litter boxes, plastic cat litter bins, and you can just grow in your closet or your garage. You can have tons and tons of worms. I mean, there's a barter item right there. I mean, everyone's going to need some worm castings and such. And so I loved his resourcefulness and just the guy in general. He looks like Gandalf.
Yeah.
And I think he's a modern day.
He's super fun. He's a great speaker. He got a really good way to speak.
Yeah, great guy. I loved your presentation. So much data.